Recording. So yesterday what we discussed about the containerization and the, so what we discussed, guys. So what we discussed yesterday, guys, speak out, guys.
We discussed about the Docker, sir.
uh, so virtualization versus mm, containeri containerization, right, guys? We already discussed about yesterday. So what is the virtualization, what is the containerization? So and we discussed about the Docker also, right? So today we will discuss about the life life without Docker. So life with Docker. So we will discuss about the life without Docker, life with Docker. Okay. So life without Docker. So what we need to do? So what we need to do, guys? So we need to install all the we need to install all the required. So we need to install all the required softwares in all the environments, right? All the environments. Yesterday I already showed, right? To run our application. And so we need to make sure we are we need to make sure we are using the same version of the softwares in all the missions, right? All the missions. So if any software version, if any software or version, so if any software version is not matched, right? Not matched, then application application execution may fail, right, guys? Application execution may fail. For example, Sunny. So for example, Sunny installed a Java 11 version 11v version in environment, in a development in development environment. So right, so development environment, and Pavan installed Java 8 Java 8 version. So Java 8 version in the QA environment. QA environment. Right, guys? So if we want to, run our application in multiple missions, then so we have to install the required softwares in all the all those missions, which in all those missions so in all those missions which so in all those missions so which is a hectic hectic task and problem. It's a hectic task, right, guys? So if you want to run our application multiple missions, then we want to install required software in all the missions, right? All the missions. So where is the other one, guys? So we need to install all these softwares in the all the missions. It is a so it is may fail, right? If you're having the so we need to make sure we are using the same version softwares in the all the missions. So all the missions, otherwise may execution may fail, right, guys? Execution may fail. Yeah, life with Docker. What is that, guys? Life with Docker. So now you understood, right? Life without Docker. So life without Docker, we need to install all the required software and all the environments to run our application. So we need to make sure we are using same version of the softwares in all the missions. So if any software version is not matched, then application execution may fail. So Sunny is installed Java 11 in the development environment. So Pawan installed Java 8 in the QA environment. Right? It is a difficult to install the deploy the application. Right? So life with Docker. So what is the life with Docker, guys? So life with Docker. Docker is a what is it, guys? Docker is a containerization. Containerization. Docker is a containerization platform, right, guys? Docker is a containerization platform. Docker is so Docker is used to Docker is used to build build and deploy. So build and deploy our application. Deploy our application into any mission. Our application into any mission without without bothering without bothering about the dependencies without bothering about the dependencies, right, guys? So dependencies because of everything will be there in the image. So there everything. So in the Docker container Docker image having the application OS as well as the software also. Software also. Just you need a server. So in that server you need to install the Docker. So in that Docker we can run that on that container Docker image. So once you create the Docker image, it will run it on any environment. If it is a development environment, a dev environment, QA environment, anywhere, so we can run that Docker image, right? That is the a big advantage, right, guys? So Docker is used to build and deploy our application into a mission without bothering about the dependencies. So without bothering about the dependencies. So depend. So dependencies. So dependencies means the softwares. What is, guys? The softwares which are required which are required to run the run which are required to run our application. Run our application. Guys, understood? So dependencies means what is the dependency? A Docker container. Docker container. A Docker container. A Docker container contains. Yeah. Tell me, guys. So a Docker container contains what it contains. So it contains.
Image.
Oh, yeah, image. Image. What having in the image? Image. So this is a Docker container. What it is, guys? It is a Docker container. Docker container. So this Docker container having, so what it is, guys? This having the OS and sorry, guys, softwares. What are the softwares we need? Tomcat, Java. So Tomcat, Java, DB if it is a DB server. So if it is a application server, something like Angular JS, right? Angular, and React. So React, we need these softwares, right? And etc. We need these softwares. So we need these softwares, right? And your code also, your code means Facebook dot var or jar, right? So this is having OS, Tomcat, and application software, everything. So just so you can take this one and you can deploy it on the any environment. For example, this is the dev environment. So for example, this is the QA environment, and this is the production environment, right? Just just create this. Right, guys? So your once you developed the container, one container, so you can deploy it on the anywhere. You can deploy it on anywhere. Right, understood, guys? You can deploy it on anywhere. Now you understood? So this is the dev environment, dev env. So this is a QA env, QA env. So this is the prod env.
Sir, we are
Prod,
under production environment, sir.
sorry,
We are in production environment or overall environment.
so we are in. So, I didn't get you what you were saying.
అంటే మనం ప్రొడక్షన్లో వర్క్ చేస్తామా లేదంటే డెవలప్మెంట్లో క్యూఏలో
అన్ని
కూడా ఉంటామా
అన్నిట్లో
అన్నిలో
వర్క్ చేస్తాం. We will work on every environment, right?
ఓకే సార్
So if you want to deploy this application, we want to create a Docker container. So it will deploy it on the development environment. So we want to deploy, right? CI/CD, the automation, right? DevOps engineer working on the automation part. Automation. So it's a automation part we are working on. So we need to automate the dev environment. We need to automate the QA environment. We need to automate the production environment also. Understood?
ఓకే సార్
So this is the environment, developer having the access, but so we are monitoring, we are administrating these environments. Guys, understood? So before it is, what is this, guys? Yeah. So yeah, right. So what I'm telling you, so if I create a Docker container, so we can use that Docker container. You can something like this is the Docker container, right? Yesterday I already told you the Docker hub. What is that, guys? Docker hub. Docker hub is the registry. Docker hub is a registry, same like as a GitHub. So in this hub, you can push that whatever you created the images, right? So you can push it to the Docker hub. From Docker hub, you can pull from Docker hub. You can pull from the Docker hub this image, this container image. So pull from the Docker hub. Guys, understood? So we can create the Docker container. So we can create the Docker image and push it to the Docker hub, and we can pull to the whatever environment we want to deploy it. Guys, now we understood. Yeah.
ఎస్
So
సార్
this is the OS. So what OS, guys? OS and softwares Tomcat, Java. So if it is a DB server, DB, etc. guys, DB, etc. So life with Docker will reduce the gap between development, development and deployment. Guys, understood? So it will reduce the gap between the deployment and development. So life with the Docker, life without Docker. Guys, now you understood? So life with the Docker, life without Docker. Life without Docker, we need to, so it's a headache. So we need to set up every environment. So we need to set up every environment and make sure all the version softwares are same motion. So otherwise it will be execution may fail. So if you use the Docker, so everything will be in the Docker, your OS, Tomcat, Java, your code, and everything will be in the container. So you can deploy a container on any environment. You can deploy this container on any environment. Any environment. Guys, understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mostly now you got the clarity about the Docker, right? A containerization. Docker architecture. Yesterday we already showed, right? Docker, Docker architecture. So what is the Docker architecture, guys? So Docker architecture having the Docker file. So what is that? First is a Docker file. Docker file. The second one is Docker image.
Image.
Yeah, image from Docker file to we can create the Docker image.
Image.
Third one is so we can push this image to Docker
Hub.
Docker hub or a Docker registry. So this is called as a hub. So Docker hub or a Docker registry. So Docker registry. What is that? So once we push that Docker image and we can pull it and so we can run as a Docker container. Docker container. Guys, now you understood? So what is the Docker architecture, guys? Yesterday we already showed. So I will show it again. Oh, WS27 batch. This is the one now. Not this is the one. Cut, paste. Yeah. So what is the architecture, guys? So Docker file. So from Docker file to so we can build the image and push it to the Docker Hub repository. Then pull to the uh, pull and run as a container. Pull and so run as a container. Guys, now you understood. So what is the architecture? So Docker file, Docker image, Docker registry, Docker container. So guys, tell me. So what is a Docker file? So what is a Docker file? Guys, tell me. It contains
Oops.
instructions. It contains instruction to build the Docker image. Docker image. So for example, guys, I will show you example. One second. Docker. Docker image. So Docker image. Example. So what is the Docker image example, guys? You see, guys, Docker image example. So what is this? This is the Docker file. So Docker file, it contains the instructions to build the Docker image. So it contains, guys, everyone can speak out. It contains instructions to build the Docker
To build the Docker
images. Yeah.
image.
So from the CentOS 7, from we need to get the first CentOS 7. Then so repository, we need to set the repositories. This is the repository. Then we can install the Java. So you can create the OPT directory and go to the OPT directory. You can download the Tomcat. So Tomcat software to the OPT. So and untar the Tomcat. Then move to the OPT. So work directory. So OPT Tomcat web apps. So where we need to deploy our code, we need to deploy our code. What is the code? Lab 6a.var. So we want to first we want to go to here and download it and expose the 88 and command opt tomcat bin catalina.sh run. So this will be running on the, so up to here it will be running in while creating the Docker image. So cmd command will run it on the build the to run the container, to run as a container. Guys, now you understood? It contains an instruction to build the Docker images. What are the instructions? So from run work directory, add work dir, run expose cmd. I will tell you everything. I will tell you everything. Guys, now you understood?
Sir, we need to learn these instructions for everything same or different.
Means
For every other program, same instructions are different. Change.
yeah. So these are the instructions you can use. So we have a multiple instructions. We can use the we can use it. So for example, this is the purpose of installing the Java and downloading the Tomcat and install the Tomcat and download the var file and run as a container.
Run.
So for example, this is one application. So this is one application. For example, Facebook application. So Facebook application is deployed on one container. Now you understood? Everything will be there in the container only. First, CentOS 7. Yeah, CentOS 7 OS image. So then install the Java. On the CentOS 7, install the Java. Java is installed. Then Tomcat installed. Then downloaded the var or jar file. Right? So this is, for example, your GitHub account. So in our GitHub, the var jar files are available in the GitHub account, right? In the main. You can go to the main and and get this var and download this var in the OPT Tomcat web apps. So right. So once it is, this cmd command is will run it on the container while running the container, Docker container. So once it is running, Tomcat is up and running. Now your application is working. Our application is running. I will show you. No worries. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is the Dockerfile instruction. So what is the Docker image? Image is, so what is the image? It is a package which contains code and dependencies. So this is the code and these are the dependencies, right? So it contains so something like, it is a package. So it is a package which contains, so it contains code plus dependencies. Code plus OS plus dependencies. Dependencies. Guys, understood? So image means, so from the Docker file we can build the Docker image. So we can build the Docker image. So what is the registry? It is a repository to store the Docker images. What is, guys? It is a repository
Repository
to
to store
store the
images.
to store the Docker images, to store the Docker images. Same like as a registries, artifactories. Registries are artifactories. JFrog. What is that, guys? JFrog artifactory. So what is artifactory, guys? Artifactory is nothing but a to store the images, to store the Docker images. Guys, understood? To store the Docker images, JFrag and the Nexus. So Nexus Artifactory. Guys, understood? So this is like a GitHub. This is like a GitHub repository. So you can store your, once we build the Docker images, right? So from the command, so we can build the Docker images. Once the Docker images build, so we need to push it to the Docker Hub, that is a Docker Hub repository. Once we push it to the Docker Hub repository, so we can pull it to the any environment. If you want to deploy it on the development environment, we can pull it. So if you want to deploy a QA environment, we can pull it pull it to the QA environment. So if you want to pull it to the production environment, we can pull it, right guys? What is a Docker container? It is a so it is a runtime process which runs our application. So which runs our application. Guys, now you understood the Docker architecture. So Docker architecture. So note guys, what is that? Note once once Docker image once Docker image is created, so then so we can pull that image and so we can run that image in any environment or mission any mission. Guys, mute yourself. Any mission. Guys, understood? Guys, understood or not?
Yes.
Yes, right? So yesterday we discussed about the virtualization and containerization, right? So now you understood that. So we discussed about, right? Yeah. So what is a Docker? Docker is a platform of packaging, deploying and running the applications. Docker enables you to separate our application from your infrastructure so you can deliver a software quickly. Docker packages software into a Yeah, so Docker enables you to separate your application from your infrastructure so you can deliver software quickly. Docker pages softwares into standardized units, call it as a container that have everything softwares need to run, including libraries, system tools, code, runtime, everything will be there. So by taking advantage of a Docker methodologies for shipping, testing, and deploying code quickly, you can significantly reduce the delay between the writing code and running in the production. So writing code and so running it in the production. Guys, understood? So what is that? The terminology: Dockerfile, Docker image, Docker hub, Docker registry, client, Docker container. So right, so from the Docker container, we can build the Docker images. So we can pull the Docker images. We can run the Docker container. So run as a container. So here the Docker host, we install the Docker daemon. So from the imager, we in the registry, we can pull the images. So what are the Docker commands? Docker -v to check the version. Docker info. It will it will get the information. Docker help. So help Docker login to log into the Docker registry, Docker images. So it will display the what are the Docker images available. Docker PS. So process test. How many Dockers are running as a container. Docker pull image ID to pull the Docker image. Docker run image ID to run as a container. We can use the run. So Docker build is nothing but we can build the image from the Docker file. Docker tag, we can create the tags. Docker push is nothing but we can push from here to Docker hub. So Docker RMA is nothing but to remove the Dockers. Docker RM-container ID, we can remove the containers also. So for removing the images, so Docker images, we can use the Docker RMA. For removing the Docker containers, we can use the Docker RM command. So Docker RM command. So now you understood, right? This one yesterday already told. So dev environment is used by the developers for performing the integration testing. Sit environment will be used by the testing team to test the functionality of the application. UAT environment will be used by the client to test functionality of the application. So pilot environment means pre-production environment and prod means live environment. It is to deliver the project. So to deploy our application to these many environments, we need to take of all the softwares. So required to run our application in all the environments, it is very difficult task. So virtualization we discussed about, right? So containerization also we discussed about. So conclusion, Docker is a containerization software. Docker will take care of the application and application dependence for the execution. Deployment, deployment into multiple environments will become easy to use. Docker containers concept. So how to install the Docker? How to install the Docker, guys? So in the Amazon Linux, you can install sudo yum update -y, install docker -y, sudo use service docker start. So use add user to the Docker group by executing the below command, sudo user mod -az docker ec2 user docker info. Yeah, guys, so we can install the Docker now. 1 second, guys. Yeah, guys, now you understood, right, how to install the Docker. So we will install the Docker, guys. 1 second. So please send me hi. Then I will ping you the group, WhatsApp group. You can connect to that. Okay. So whatever the updates I am giving it, right? You can see it. Yeah. Yeah. You can also share the link to the group so that everyone can join it. Hi guys. Actually, someone is called for the guy. The guy is watching in the YouTube recordings. He want to join it in the live sessions, but these are paid ones, right? Yeah, yeah. So I want to install the guys. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So want to install the Docker service. So if you want to run a Docker container, definitely we need to install a Docker service. We need to install the Docker service. Okay. Same like we installed the Apache, right? Apache service. So Apache is nothing but a HTTPD service, right? The same like as a, so we need to install the Docker service. So launch a instance. So it is a Docker, Docker-server. So Docker-server, you guys can use Amazon Linux 2, the same like as a CentOS. If you use this, um, yeah, guys, struck. Hmm. So T2 micro is enough. You can select the key pair as a Samsung. Then so network, everything. Yeah, guys, everything is okay. Launch instance. So once we launch the instance, so what we need to do, guys? So we need to install the Docker. So what is the Docker installation? What is the package name, guys? So the package name is Docker. Sudo yum install docker-y service docker start. Right, guys? So we need to start the service. Yeah. So it is running, but it's still initializing. Let me check. Public IP address, the DNS name, putty, connect, appearance, change settings, bold, 18. Okay. Then authentication, credentials, browse, the Samsung, open, accept. Yeah. What is the user, guys? EC2 hyphen user. EC2 hyphen user. Right. So what we need to do? So we need to install the first sudo yum update hyphen y. So yum update hyphen y. Yeah. Next sudo yum install
Install Docker
docker hyphen y. Why hyphen
hyphen
y?
y.
So if you are not providing hyphen y, it is asking the
Yes,
Automatically
sir.
accepts. Yes, sir.
yes. Right now you got it. Right. It is asking without asking yes or no. So if you provide the hyphen y forcefully, it will install. Right. So once the Docker package installed, so we need to start the Docker. Right. Yeah. S- So sudo systemctl status Docker. Sudo systemctl status Docker. Start Docker. Yeah. So now you can check the status. Yeah, now it is running. If the Docker container is not running, your Docker, if the Docker service is not running, your Docker container will not run. Right? Must and should the Docker container will run on any VM virtual machine or a instance or a physical machine. So then only the container will Docker container will run. So without Docker service, your Docker container will not run. Will not run. Guys, understood now? Yeah. So Docker is installed. So Docker is installed. We need to add user into that sudo scoop. Sudo user mod -a small a capital G and Docker user EC2 user EC2 user. Now let's check Docker -v. So what is the version Docker installed, guys? Docker version is 25.0.3 and Docker. What is that, guys? Docker info. Docker info. Yeah. So the version is 25.0, 25.0.3 default, and the path is this is the path, right, guys? This is the Docker info. Docker info. Guys, understood? Yeah. So to see the Docker images, execute the below command. To see the Docker images, how to see the Docker images? By using the Docker images command. Docker images command. So so Docker. So permission denied, right? Sudo Docker images. You see, so no Docker images are available because of there is no Docker images created. So you want to pull a Docker image. You want to pull the Docker images, guys. So how you can pull Docker? Pull, for example, hello world. Hello world. So where it can pull, guys? It can pull from the. It can pull from
Docker
the.
Hub.
Very good. It can pull from the Docker Hub. Hello. Yeah, you see, guys. So this is the hello world. So this is the hello world. Docker pull hello world. It will pull from the. It will pull from the Docker Hub. It will pull from the Docker Hub. Okay.
Hello World is an image, sir.
Hello world is a image. Docker image. So in the Docker Hub, so we have a public images also available. So public images. So what are the public images? Public and private. So if you created the images and push it to the your repository, right? Your repository as a public repository. Everyone can see it and download it and use it, right? The same way, so we have a two types of repositories: public repository and private repository. For example, so so this is a a public repo. So the AWS DevOps material. So this is the public repository, right? Everyone can see it and everyone can download it. Everyone can see it and everyone can download it. So there is no restriction. There is no restriction. The same like as a public and a private. So for example, this is the Hello World. Hello World is a image name, but it contains something like it contains a OS image. It contains a OS and libraries and the application. Let's check.
Sudo.
Yes, but yeah. So we are using the sudo now, able to download the
Image.
yeah, status download newer image for hello world latest. This is the tag, guys. So this is the tag. Okay. So now you can check the command called as a sudo
Docker image.
Docker images. Yeah. Now we have a one Docker image. So one Docker image. What is the size, guys? The size is only
13.3 KB.
13 point.
KBs.
Yeah, just KB. Now you see, so everything will be within the just 13 point KB. Just within the 13 point KB. Now you understood? So if you want to run
Yes.
the, so if now Docker image is there, right? So I want to run it as a container, right? This is the Docker image. So I want to run it as a container. How you can run? So what is the command? So what is the command, guys? So what is the command? So this is the command Docker run. So Docker build means it will build the image. Docker run means it will run the container. Okay. What is the command, guys? Docker run. Yeah, Docker
Hello
run.
world. Docker and hello world.
Docker image. So image name. Very good, guys. Docker sudo sudo docker, guys. Sudo docker run
Run
image name.
hello
What is the
world.
image name? Hello world. Hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly, right? You installed the Docker everything. So to generate this message, Docker took the following steps. The Docker client connected to the Docker daemon, right? Now you understood? The Docker client connected to the Docker daemon. What is the Docker daemon, guys? Docker daemon is nothing but a Docker service. We started the Docker service, right? So this is the one. So this is the a daemon. So what is this? This is a Docker daemon. Guys, understood? So it connected to the Docker client connected to the Docker daemon. So the Docker client connected to the Docker daemon. So the Docker daemon pulled the hello world image from the Docker hub. So then the Docker daemon created a new container from the image which runs the executable that produces the output of your currently reading. Guys, understood? So the Docker daemon created a new container. What is the container? So from the image, Docker
Hello.
image, so it created a Docker container. So through the Docker image by using the Docker run, who created this? The daemon, Docker daemon, created a from the image which runs the executable that produces the output of your currently reading. So we are reading, right? So this is a Docker image contains this reading file. The Docker daemon streamed that output of the Docker client which sent to the your terminal. So to try something more ambitious, you can run the Ubuntu container with the no need, guys. I will tell you, no worries. Okay. Now you understood? The Docker container is running. How you can check your Docker container is running or not? Docker,
Docker status.
Docker ps -a. So what is that, guys? Sudo.
Sudo.
Yeah. Guys, understood? So once you run the image as a container, it will create the container ID. What it will create? It will create the container
Container
ID.
ID.
This is the image name and this is a hello world command. So 2 minutes ago you created and exited with 2 minutes, right? Exited. So I will show you guys. It will running from 2 minutes ago. It will show you the status. Okay. Now you understood? Docker image. So Docker pulling from the Docker hub, then Docker images. Yeah, these are the Docker images. Then so from the Docker image, you can run the container. You can run the container with the help of daemon. Docker daemon. Guys, understood? So for
Yes, sir.
example,
But sir,
guys. Hmm,
what
tell
was
me.
after running what we got sir output?
Yeah. So the output is this is the output. So it's showing just hello world is showing this output. I will show you now the output. So vi docker file. So for example, this is the vi docker file, guys. So in this docker file, whatever we created, right? This from this CentOS 7 run now. So I'm copying this and pasting here. So then wq. So docker build docker build -t hello world. Guys, 1 second. So docker build, right? The command is, so what is the command, guys? Docker build to run the docker. So docker pull, or else I will show you one thing, guys. So I can pull this command from this Tomcat, right? I think we need, right? uh, Tomcat 9. So just I will show you, I will show you later this one. Docker pull. So this is the command, sudo docker pull. Yeah, we need to use the docker image, image from the registry, or else something like docker pull nginx. Sorry, sudo docker pull ing. So now I'm downloading the which, guys? This is the nginx nginx image, docker images, sudo docker images, sudo docker images, so nginx. So I want to build this, right? So docker build -t, the name nginx. Sorry, docker run, docker run nginx. Shit. So if you go to the sudo su, guys, I'm going to this root docker run nginx, docker images. Yeah, docker run nginx. -t, right? Docker ps -a. Excited, right? -d, guys. So docker rm, so docker rm -f, docker name. Yeah, docker, 1 second, guys, docker ps -a. Yeah, now you see. So docker ps -a, just so nothing is running. Docker run nginx, docker run -d, guys. So docker run -d is nothing but a detached mode. Yeah, so docker ps -a, guys, you see. So nginx is running. So you see it created up from the last 3 seconds. Now you see, up from the, it is up and running, right? Now let's check. What is this, guys? This is nginx, right? 8080. Once I want to check this public IP address. http:// we need to allow the security groups, guys. 1 second. Time gone. Security inbound traffic. This is the security group, right? The inbound traffic we need to allow all, right? Add rule all traffic custom everywhere, save the rules. Now let's check. One second. So EC2 instances, Docker, public address, http:// public address 8, systemctl stop firewall d. Okay. Docker ps -a. So the port is 80 enabled. 80 is enabled from here. Yeah, guys, 1 second. So we enabled the port from the here, right? Here. So the port is enabled with the container, but so I want to enable the port to this server also, right? So that's the reason. Docker rm -f. Forcefully I want to delete this. Yeah, Docker rm Docker ps -a. Yeah, we removed the container. Now we can run docker run something like -d detached mode. -p means port 80:80 nginx. So this is the host port. This is the container port. This is the host port and container port. So we are enabling the both. So we are enabling the container port and the host port. Now let's check. Why guys, why it is public IP only, right? Yeah, up and running 8080. So IPA, what is this guys? Let's check public IP address only, right? http://80. Yeah, now you should guys. So the application, that applied application is coming, right? So this is the, so I just I just ran the container, nginx container. So this is the web server. It is showing it in the browser or not, guys? Right? Guys,
So
right? Yeah. So we'll show you tomorrow, guys, how to build how to enable the host port and the container port. We'll show you, no worries, guys. So Avinash, you asked the question, right? That's the reason I enabled it. No worries. Tomorrow I will show you everything, right?
okay.
Yeah, guys. So we'll continue from tomorrow.